this evening. Let's stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, our first order of business tonight is the approval of our prior minutes. The first being a regular meeting held on November the 14th. You have those minutes in front of you.
I make a motion to approve the minutes for the regular meeting.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
And then an executive session meeting was held as well on November the 14th.
I'll make a motion to accept.
November the
I
20th,
have the wrong
excuse
date
me.
on there. It's right on the minutes, it's wrong on your agenda.
November the 20th. Stand corrected. Did I hear a motion?
Yes, I make a motion to accept the minutes from that.
Hear a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Each one will need to sign this document. All right, we'll move on to our reports tonight. Andy?
Alright, underwater, the plant's treated 939,470 gallons of water since our last meeting. Our average daily usage is up to 67,105. We got a few leaks. Filters were backwashed on the 15th and 21st. We repaired one water main break and one water meter. The water project is over halfway complete, and we had a meeting today with NDOT for the new water main crossing Interstate Road 19, and Triad has to make submit some drawings. Some of the stuff they had in their drawing was inaccurate as far as the size of the bore pits and the placement of it, and I was having a hang up with it, but we all met on site today and actually painted it on the ground so they could see it. And she said once we get it resubmitted, we should get our permit for that month soon. So I just want to get it in before. They're trying to get all the pipe in the ground before Christmas. That's their plan. And if we get this soon, I think we'll be able to stay on track. And then we found the water line for the ball diamond on Moore Street. I never knew where it was. It was a 2-inch line. It was so brittle you could crush it with your foot. It's pretty unbelievable. We disconnected it at the main, and we'll install a new line here afterwards. I was going to print the picture, but I worked late here today, and when we cut we cut the whole section of the main out to put the T in for the new water line to get that saddle off of it, because it was going to be right next to the hot tap. When we got it out of the ground, one of the bolts that holds it on was completely rusted through. So it's kind of a good thing if we did find it, because it probably wouldn't have lasted too much longer. Under wastewater bin, performing daily checks at the lift station sewer plant. Sewer plant's closed and we're not discharging. Weekly sewer samples are complete. October wastewater report's complete and submitted. I responded to IDEM about the early ban notice, and we're going to just keep working on eliminating the infiltration in the collection system. And I was coming up with I'm just going to make a logbook of all these manholes and the things we do and keep recording that. And we serviced the check valves at the lift station. Valve 1 had some trash in it, but wasn't really that bad. But valve 2 was inoperable and almost completely blocked. I've got BL Anderson. It's going to be out Monday to recalibrate the meter. And we also discovered that the valve for manhole number 1 wasn't closed all the way. I mean, that's probably been that way forever. So it was allowing some water every time the lift station came on to go back through that, back to manhole 1, and right back into the lift station. But, yeah, I don't know about these check valves. I want to talk to them about it. If we keep having an issue with stuff getting stuck, the trash in there, our magnet here is too close, and we may have to move that thing to the sewer plant to get an accurate read.
That's municipal budget.
Yeah, it would be. I mean, as much as I hate to, it's better there. It's more convenient there if there's a situation. But even today, I grabbed sewer samples. I checked it, and one valve had something leaking past it. I didn't take them apart to see which one. We'll see tomorrow. But I mean, people don't realize when they flush the trash down the toilet what it does. You know, stuff gets in the pumps. It gets in the valves. Clogs stuff up, and just ends up costing more money for operational expenses. But I'm hoping we can get it worked out. Winter Street's been winterizing equipment, getting ready for winter, and we cleaned the shelter house after that 3-inch rain. And we were able to get it ready for Thanksgiving, so everything worked out there. Not a lot going on in the building. We had one zoning inquiry, one building inquiry, and then I've signed all the addresses for phase 4 of North Wind Estates and submitted that to the county. So I haven't any questions.
What's the status of the repair on the drain over there by the shelter house?
Well, contractor's never called me back. I called him, and,
Does Watson do that?
well, I told him I'm getting the price, but he ain't gonna stop this project.
Well, no.
He said he would do it. He said he's gonna give me a
After.
price. I showed him 2 things we needed fixed, and he said he'll give us a price to do them at the end
Cool.
of the project.
Did something happen to the sewer line over there by the tavern when the water lines were going in? Because when we had that 2-inch rain, their drainage out by the road wasn't draining properly.
Just wasn't taking it fast enough.
Okay.
No, I was on that whole run when all that pipe went in. We ran parallel to the storm drain. And the only place we crossed it was right up by Hopkins Drive. It's farther south of the road, the storm drain is. And then you can see the road cut where the rip goes over. But no, with everything as wet as it was and how fast the rain came, there were other areas that it was just too much rain too fast, unfortunately.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions for Randy? All right, Marty's with us this evening.
Okay, I've issued 7 notices. I say on my report that I had a vehicle towed. I called for it to be towed today, and they did not come and get it. So I look for that to happen tomorrow, but I'll print you all a revised report if you'd like. Beyond that, I did ordinance sweeps today, documented everything that, where there were issues that I found, and I will be delivering those notices over the next few weeks. And then we do have some unpaid tickets, and next week letters will be going out to all the people that have not paid. So other than that, unless you have anything for me.
There's a family that moved, Ron, over there on Indiana Street.
You know where, Josh Johnson moved to?
They have a updated permit
No,
for their
that's,
chickens?
that's being addressed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's brought to my attention.
Yeah, I noticed it today when I was driving around.
They don't have any roosters, do they?
I was over there all day.
I was gonna say, when I looked at their other place, they didn't, they did have some species of chicken that I've never seen before that they, you know,
Because
somebody
I know it's in our
rooster.
ordinance.
The crow.
They, something like that, but, nothing that looked like a rooster
Okay.
to me, but who knows, it could've changed. So that, like I said, when I visit them next week, we'll work all that out.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. Robin, do you have anything?
Let's set a date for our budget. I've got it narrowed down on my end, so the 19th, the 20th, or the 21st.
I'm good either three of those, so.
Or were they the 19th, the 23rd, or what?
19th, 20th, or 21st.
Oh,
Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
Oh, okay.
Every third week.
yeah, I'm good any of those
So
myself.
am I.
Clear. Good.
Want to do a Wednesday, the 20th? What
So-
time, Robin?
You wanna do like 10? Because it'll be a while. It'll take a while.
So Wednesday, December the 20th. 10 o'clock.
That's all I have.
Okay, fire department, Jerry?
Well, I apologize because I didn't do a report tonight because my printer didn't seem to want to cooperate with the laptop. So, just three things real quick. We still need to act on the contract to the south of us. And I've got both assistant chiefs working on the run codes. We're trying to finalize those. And I'm putting together a CPR class down at the department if anybody at the town needs CPR. And I think that's gonna be, I think we're shooting for the second Saturday of December. So if anybody would like to do CPR, get certified,
Is there a fee to that, or?
I don't think there's going to be. One of our members is actually gonna put that on.
And do you have a specific date and time?
I'm trying to nail that down, but I'm thinking it's gonna be the second day, or the second weekend or second Saturday of December. So, and that's all I have unless you guys have some questions for me. I've been kind of off the radar for about the last week, under the weather, so, that's all I got for tonight. Thanks.
You're welcome, thank you.
You don't have to stay, Jerry.
Pardon?
You don't have to stay if you don't feel good.
We'll see how things go. I may be passing out that Purell thing around so you can all sanitize.
It's already crossed all our minds.
Okay.
Okay, we'll move on to old business tonight. Orange Baseball is with us this evening. Appreciate you guys coming in to talk. As you know, you received notification back. Refresh my memory.
October 10, I think, somewhere around there.
About the termination of our contract. And after much discussion at the council meeting a couple meetings back, we voted to reach out to you guys to come and visit us, to try to talk about the issues and try to work something out. So, again, I appreciate you coming this evening. introduce Andrew Einters is here with us. I know he and Manning have been in communication, so hello to everybody. Andrew, it was requested that our full executive board be here, so Shane McVeigh, Brent Johnson, and Adrian Roach have joined us tonight with the full executive board voting members of the Orange Youth Baseball Board.
Well, basically, there were some issues, several issues that this council had with things, and some to do with building codes, some to do with damage to the backstop, the concession stand. There was a report that the concession stand was sublet. Just several things that, several issues that we had. And that's what brought us to the place of terminating the lease. I know originally I voted for that. And after consideration, I also voted to meet with you guys to see what solution we could have to these problems. And that's where we're at tonight. And I know, depending on the outcome, depending on, you know, the two organizations getting together, will determine the future of Orange baseball. I don't know if you have any response tonight. Or does anyone else on this council have anything they would like to say?
I like to say I like seeing the kids play there. I did not like the kids playing on that diamond with the backstop the way it is, because that is a danger for the kids, the umpires, and anybody else walking around, because it can go. And it would hurt somebody really bad. A lot of the things that happen, I don't approve of. I don't approve of being called names. I wish all you board members would have been up here to talk to us instead of lots of hearsay. Yes, we've had heated arguments and discussions about this, and I enjoyed having the kids there. That's what this is for, is the kids. Not for egos. It's just a disappointment, because not only that, I know you guys did some work out there, but so did our town. And it is for the kids. That's my biggest concern, and safety. And it bothered me. It really did. There's a lot of things that were going on that were under the table that other people, like I said, hearsay. And then we have documentation, and it's just disappointing, because it's disappointing for the children. John?
I'll be the one to say that I kept a pretty close eye on that place out there. And in the spring, I talked to Steve. I had some issues. I let him know exactly what the problems all were. And he was all upset because I was point blank with being blunt about the problems and the issues I seen with the not being taken care of and what was going on out there. He asked me who he needed to talk to. I told him he needed to come to a town council meeting. He attends a town council meeting, and all he does is come up and does a big presentation about spending $50,000 to $75,000 out, or $100,000, excuse me. I got the paper, it was $100,000 out there. In turn, which there hadn't been no $100,000 out there. There still hasn't been. My observation of what's been done out there probably ain't $25,000 worth of work. And a lot of it was all donated and sponsors, and nothing of Orange's money that I have seen out there in any way, shape, or form. I know a lot of the contractors that did this, the donating of the work. The issues that I talked to Steve about were the backstop, or the ruts out there where they drove concrete trucks over a sewer line that wasn't supposed to be driven out there. They were told about it. The ball fields were tore all to pieces. He told me that they were going to have them up and ready for this invitational thing they had going on out there. There was dugouts that were not even put up yet. There were some that they tore the siding off of that still has the siding tore off of. There was damage to the breast box, the roof, and things that had been left go ever since they'd taken it over in 16. And when I brought that to his attention, he was all upset and everything about it, but when he come to the board meeting, he didn't come here to discuss any of the issues. There wasn't nothing discussed about what our phone conversation was about. He was just telling us how great a job he'd been doing out there, and it was $100,000 worth of things that they were going to do and this and that. Give us a little printout of what was and what was pending and this and that, and had a dollar amount beside all of them, and then nothing has gotten taken care of. And then I started looking through the contract, which the contract is what Orange come up and offered to do for taking the diamond. About everything that was in our contract, which I got a copy of it right here, is what Orange said, we'll do this, we'll do that. We never asked for anything pretty much in this contract. It was all what they offered to do. And then they never took care of anything. They never winterized the place. Our guys went out there at our dime. We winterized it after the pipes froze and busted. We had it all ready to go before they took it over. That place was not abandoned. It was in very good shape when they took it over. They have made improvements on the diamond with the grassed infield and did some painting out there. But other than that, there's more damage now done than what was out there before they took over. The sewer, the concession stand is crushed and has not been working since they drove the concrete truck over it. The hot water heater doesn't work in the concession stand because the power was turned on without the water being filled, the hot water being filled, and it burnt the elements out. The backstop has been bent, and it was that way because neglect of them guys putting banners up there that didn't have wind holes through them, and it folded the backstop over. And they continued to keep it that way all summer long and played with them kids out there with them pipes falling loose and hanging loose up there. I've got pictures of that. They cut down a batting cage that belonged to the town and destroyed it, left the pipe sticking out of the ground by about a foot, which was nothing but a liability. The backstop was a liability to the town. We had in the contractor not to sublet. They sublet out to a concession stand personnel that had a business without approval, and he was asked to be removed. And then right after that, they turned around and sublet to another lady, which got emails corresponding back from Shannon and this lady Steve and the lady back and forth, and telling them to tell us that we're hard, in the emails, it's town employees and personnel are hard to work with, and if anybody asks, you're a volunteer or a parent. And in the emails, we got her whole list of her items that she sells personally and everything else, and they're talking back and forth. They work out the deal as far as what she's going to pay them to use the concession stand and the profits. And then, and then I hear that they were leasing out to, subletting out to Noblesville Youth Baseball out there. They were told in the agreement they were to get us insurance, show a proof of insurance, but for the first year, it did not happen. Our attorney had to write a letter to Steve to get a copy of it. We did not have it. Key cards, we have special keys that can only be cut through the company that we purchase our locks from. They were supposed to have sign-out cards. Steve asked if he could take them instead of having each one of their personnel come up here and sign because it was such hard for them to get up here during our office hours. We told him, yeah. The cards was not signed and not returned to us, so we had no idea who has keys to that place down there. There was an issue that went on down there, and the lady contacted me several months later about a possible lawsuit, wanted to talk to me about suing Orange and possibly suing the town, also being involved in a lawsuit. In some of the discussion, I talked to her about the keys, and she had been given 2 keys to the concession stand in the facility out there. And whenever the key card issue was brought up, I asked Robin if we had a copy of the keys that were Steve had signed out to the people of Orange. We had not have received one at the time. And in some correspondence with Robin and Steve, we get a copy, and it's just on a printout right here.
It's a good old document.
And there is, that lady's name's not on here. Now, you know, what she told me was verbal, it's hearsay, I don't know. But I know it's not on there. But still, the procedure of the keys being signed out was not followed. I've tried and tried and tried to talk to this board about the issues as they were taking place and tried to get them corrected. I called Steve to try to get it corrected, you know, to no prevail. And after a while, I said I had enough. So I requested that we give them their termination notice. I went through the contract, and on that contract, and I typed this up and I gave it to everybody. It's public record. There is 16 different items on here where breach of contract or issues at that place out there due to Orange. And I get through someone that is associated with Orange, I get this little letter that was sent out to all you gentlemen, everyone that is associated with Orange in any way, shape, or form. And it's sitting here saying that the town council up here were nitpicky, telling lies, fabrication, mistruths, and all that. I'm no damn liar. I told you exactly, Steve, what the problem was. I've sat right up here. I've got documentation to back what I have said and what the issues are. I could take you out to the ball field right now and show you the problems that is existing is exactly what I've said and I've complained to this board about, trying to get corrected. And whether these guys up here on the board was just so impressed that there was something going on out there, or whether they're worried about someone else not being interested in that, I have no idea why they turned a blind eye as far as I'm concerned. But I'm telling you, I know for a fact that there's a lot of other organizations that's interested in that field. They were interested in it before you got it. And I don't see that there'd be a problem with putting somebody else back out there. And since we didn't get any cooperation, we never had anybody from your board come up and address any of these issues, this board finally was convinced to terminate the contract. And why they're reconsidering, reversing it, I have no idea, because even after you have received a letter, I was out there and you guys were taking the scoreboards down. My understanding is your investment is the stuff that you have done and put into that place, but as soon as the contract is terminated, you're out there stripping that thing and ripping it, everything that was put into there apart and taking it. And another thing too that I got in here was supposedly I was trying to talk the police to be going outside their jurisdiction whenever I was out there, and I happened to stop when you guys called the police. The town did not call the police when you guys were taking the scoreboards down. I never tried to get them to go out of their jurisdiction or anything. All I did was told them that we did turn it over to our attorney, and they showed me that said that you had a letter that you guys purchased the scoreboards. And I said, well, that's fine, but I said, they've got damage done to our property. And I said, we'll just have to turn it over to the attorney. Now, you tell me how I'm trying to get the police to do anything against the law or do anything illegal, because I made a statement as to a fact, you know. And I've talked to, before this ever even took place, I talked to this board about exactly what you did. You're sitting up there saying you're putting $100,000 in our park out there, you're doing this, you're doing that. And I said, there's not one thing in this contract that says that they can't take that stuff when they walk away. And you guys did exactly what I knew you would do as soon as there was an issue instead of addressing the problems. And if you guys would address these problems back in the spring, when I talked to you, that was before your invitational thing, when you were working on the diamond, this may not even have taken place. Because I'm not opposed to you guys being out there, but I'm opposed to somebody telling me they'll do something and then they don't.
Johnny, can I ask a question?
Sure.
As I recall, and I could be wrong because I'm only one person on this board, that I think the last time that Steve talked to you outside of the board meeting here showing up was back in April 4th in connection with a single letter that you sent unilaterally from this board, which could have got all these guys in trouble.
I didn't send nothing laterally from
To
this
us, I
board.
know you did. We have a copy of
Will
it.
you show it to me then? Because anything, emails that I sent was from what my.
You sent a letter on behalf of the entire town.
No. Show it to me.
And I don't, you're saying a lot of stuff here about you've come out and told us this and told us that. First time I met you was out there on that field the other day when the cops showed up.
I didn't say I come out there and told you. I talked to Steve on the phone. Listen to what I'm saying. Don't put words in my mouth. That is not what I said.
Let's not make this an argument.
Let's stop.
Let's make let council make a statement, you guys make a statement, and then we'll have a constructive discussion. I understand where you're
I'd like to
coming
know
from.
I'd like to know on behalf of the board, the rest of the board, outside of Steve, did you or did you not have conversations with him past April 4th about fixing stuff? Because I've never met you until the other day when we were taking scoreboards down.
Not at the April meeting, or when I talked to him on the phone, and then he came up and did his presentation at the board meeting, I believe is the last time I've seen or talked to Steve in the board meeting.
Because you're making it sound like you've talked to every single one of us about the problems. A lot of these problems.
Now, that's
No,
why
he's
we
the
wanted
president.
you
We
here.
would gladly fix, but we've not heard about them.
Well,
He's the
see,
president of the
that's why
board.
we wanted you here. Because of hearsay.
Now,
Now, see, I talked to Steve before the race, before May 1st, right after you all had that invitational to raise money. And he said he was going to fix that backstop. That you guys were going to fix it because it was you put the banner on.
Yeah.
It hasn't been fixed since.
And
that was all summer long. I understand. I've been a coach and an umpire. I know. But there are times too that you have to take precautions and think of the kids and the safety and fix it.
And we did, and I know you're not privy to that, but we did have a professional fence company come out and take a look at it. They said that those poles were bent, not cracked or broken, and that they would be fine. And we also went and had a contractor give us a quote on that, and we were prepared to fix them. We were short on cash at the time, so we waited until we got in a position to do that. And we submitted a letter to Andy with a proposal before you guys canceled the contract.
Okay, wait.
No, don't bobble your head. Yes, I got nothing, and I got nothing.
In
And I
fact,
never responded to anything
You don't
because
respond to
I
anything.
shit. Call my
Stop,
I'm gonna tell you
stop,
what.
stop.
I'm gonna get fired up. Somebody gonna sit here and call me a liar. I'm sick of this.
no, stop. This is the problem.
Tell you what.
Everybody is so hot-headed, okay? Andy, I understand. You didn't
I
get
ain't
the
gonna sit here and
letter.
be told. I'm not gonna sit here and be called a liar.
You don't send
because
letters
they
to
said
Andy. You
they
send
sent that
it
letter that we
to
told
the
them they
town
couldn't fix it.
so we can go through the proper channels.
Who told you you couldn't fix that backstop? You guys put it in that letter over there. Who did it?
I sent you an email
No.
saying.
Who told you you couldn't fix it? I want a name.
No one.
Would you put it in a letter and say you were told you couldn't fix
I
it?
didn't say that.
Well, somebody did in that letter right over there because I read it.
I was there the day that your outside contractor was fixing that. I pulled up to the ball diamond, Steve was there, and I talked to Steve, and Steve told me that the guy said it couldn't be fixed. Now, Steve, and I don't remember exactly the date, I don't remember exactly why he said it couldn't be fixed.
Because the poles
But
were
I
bent.
remember Steve telling me that he thought there were a couple of guys on the team, parents or whomever, could probably donate some time and some material to get it fixed. And I told Steve at that time that there was a lot of things wrong, but that was a severe safety hazard that can be seen from the road. It was all bent back. And I told Steve that, I think we need to get that fixed. Now, I don't remember that date, Steve, but I also invited you to the town board meeting. You and I talked. And at that time, you told me you wasn't going back to the town board. One of the reasons was you had a run-in with John Pfeiffer. Now, I don't know the circumstances of that, but that certainly isn't not good enough reason to come before the town board. Now, from my point of view, big issue here is two things. Of course, it's your inability to maintain the ball diamond, not meeting building codes. Okay, that happens. That happens. I mean, you know. But the main thing is there's no cooperation. There's no communication. I know on 2 or 3 different occasions, and by the way, you 5 men, 4 men, I don't know none of you, and as far as I know, this is the first time I've ever seen your face.
First time we've seen
Okay,
the majority of
okay,
you.
let me finish. I'm glad you're here.
So,
We get to need
it
to
goes
get to know
both
each
ways
other.
here.
Sure.
You know,
Well, here's the thing. You were invited many times, whether you know it or not, through Steve Bernowski, to come to this board meeting and talk about these issues. Not once, not twice, but many meetings. Every member up here that I know of has talked to Steve, come to the board and talk. We got some problems. Steve, for whatever reason, didn't show. Now, how am I, as a board member, supposed to talk to you, man, and make aware of the situation up there if you don't come? I don't have your access to your phone numbers. So you were talking about, you know, we were going through this with Steve because he's the president of the board. I assumed he represented all you gentlemen. I'm sure he's giving you a report. So Steve telling me, you know, he couldn't make it for this reason, couldn't make it for that reason. And let me say this before I go any further. Everybody up here was all for this beginning. Everybody, the whole town, we wanted to see this succeed. I want to read 2 paragraphs that I feel like is very important here of this letter that Steve submitted to the board.
Submitted to you gentlemen.
To you gentlemen, I'm sure you guys are familiar, read it. He just got the ball down. He said, we are so excited, but I must say the one thing that causes me concern is that we are going to get this property and these fields in such nice condition that they will take it from us. Now, I don't have a date on this per se.
Well,
Let me finish. And it says, of course, their response, being this board, was that I'm paraphrasing. No, that won't happen. This isn't the spirit of what we're doing, et cetera, coming from this board. Okay? Well, that was our spirit. He goes on, he says, unfortunately, that is not what they've turned the spirit of the agreement into. He's talking to you folks. Looking for nitpicking things, telling lies. Now, nitpicking things, coming up to codes, not nitpicking. When you put a new roof on these buildings, and this much of the nail is sticking through, is not nitpicking.
They didn't put the roof on.
yeah, we didn't.
Okay, let me finish. Telling lies. I don't know what lies I've ever told Steve. Now, I'm not privy to what some of these other people has had the conversation with. I have never told you a lie, Steve. I've been upfront honest with you. And I told you my issues. You told me your issues. I said, come to the meeting, and it didn't happen. It didn't transpire. The meeting didn't. You're telling lies, fabrications, and mistruths, building fear and uncertainty through sensationalism and made-up stories that has ultimately turned into a decision to terminate our lease. Now, we didn't terminate the lease because of stories made. There were 16 different infractions that were made that you guys didn't fix. You were asked to fix, and you didn't even come to the board to even discuss it. When, how, or anything. That's in paper. That's sent to you. All right, let me read this last part, and then I'll be quiet. He's talking about the orange. We have never wavered from the primary goal to be a blessing to the town of Atlanta and to the Northern Hamilton County community. Well, I'm going to tell you, we were all for the ball diamond, but I have to say, Steve, I haven't seen any blessing that's transpired between us and you. Now, I know there's been some good things done to the ball diamond, but there's a lot of it also has been done from this town. We've got $10,000 of our own money plus invested in that little bitty ball diamond. We're a small community. $10,000 to us is a lot of money. To you, that's nothing. You've got sponsors who give you that much. Okay? So I just don't understand some of this stuff you come out here that we're uncooperative, we were lies and build fear. That's an insult to my face. That's a slap to my, and especially when I've talked to you personally, out on that ball diamond, sweat all over you out there working. I've seen all these parents going out there putting in a lot of man hours, a lot of work, And that's great, that's, you know, but things have to be done correctly. When that's been brought up to you that this isn't done correctly according to code, and it wasn't done in demanding, I was just simply telling you, bring it to your attention. Steve, this needs to be fixed. It never got fixed. I said, well, come to a meeting. Come to a meeting, let's just talk. You never came to a meeting. You were asked many times. This is the first, and so we voted you out. And let me say this before I say any more. When we voted you out, this board decided they want to give you another chance. They voted on it. There's 5 members up here. 2 members said no. And I'm one of them members that don't even want you back. That's where I'm at. I'm sorry that the kids have to be penalized for this, but if it's all about the kids, well, part of the kids thing is safety. It's no good to have a ball diamond if the kids can't play safe.
Gentlemen,
So don't put all the blame on this board. You've got some things you have to answer for. And I'm just trying to be legal and upstanding and responsible and just trying to get you here to the meeting. It's taken all this arguments and frustration and heartache. It's caused tension on this board members just to get you guys, you 6 men here tonight. That's what it's taken. And frankly, my heart's not in it. All the fun and privilege of seeing a nice baseball diamond up there, to me, I don't even have the assurance, if you guys came back, that you even fixed what you've already needs to be fixed. And then how's that gonna happen in the future? There's no trust built up between this town board and Orange. And the only people negotiating this was this board and you, Steve. You represented Orange. You're the only guy this board got to see. So there's not much trust up here on my part. That's where I stand.
Gentlemen, some of the building codes, it's for safety. I know the dugouts that you did, they look nice, except I know that some of the things you used are not up to code. It's for safety of the kids. No trucks as you drive through. Is the reason why is your sewer lines and the water lines run right through the drive-through. Those have been fixed a couple times by the town already, and still cement truck has crushed them again. In your contract, I don't know if the rest of the board knows this, but when you go to do upgrades, you're supposed to come to the town meeting before it's done to get the okay. We're not nitpicking. We just want to know what's going on. Yes, we gave you a bunch of leeway. Yeah, your spreadsheet was great, but we still gave you a bunch of leeway. And look what happened. Steve, you're a nice guy. I know you have a kind heart when it comes to the kids. But there are reasons why government has so much red tape and it has to be followed. Your lawyer knows this. Things have to be followed for a reason. Yes, we liked having the kids down there. We really did. It was enjoyable. But unfortunately, some things did get damaged. Yeah, our contract's a little messy. We're going to work on it. And we would like to have the kids back. Like to have you all back. We know you put a lot of work into it, but we didn't expect things to get damaged too. We've had to deal with townspeople complaining about the parking, but hey, we can work with that. We can work together. We work as a team up here, and that's what baseball is, isn't it? Teamwork? Why can't we all work as a team instead of be constantly fighting or having a council member come by, me included, I was down there, and get upset at a few things? Yes, I know the roofing was all done by our insurance company. It was all covered, okay? But still, kids are going to get injured by climbing. I don't care if you tell them not to climb or not, they're going to. and getting nails in their heads, who's going to have to pay the insurance for that? Yes, we're insured. I also know you guys are. So we all have to think of safety. We asked for insurance. Honestly, we wouldn't mind if Noblesville used the fields, but we didn't have any of their insurance papers, which is what we asked at the beginning of this. For if you're going to have somebody else use them when you're not, we need their insurance papers on file just for that reason, in case something happens. And we've worked hard out there too. Our employees have. When you're not out there cutting the grass, because you're out just doing the stuff with the kids out at other fields, our employees went out there and cut it. Because, yeah, we want to keep it up. We're willing to work with you guys.
Can I ask 2 questions here? Not to interrupt you. But Steve, I'd like to ask you at this board meeting tonight, when you were told, brought to your attention that there were some safety and code infractions out there, question number 1, why weren't you willing to come up to the town board and talk about it? Number 2, you waited until Orange Baseball got a notice for, to kick you out, lack of a better word right now. And then, and still, you chose not to come up here and give a legitimate reason why they haven't been fixed or any kind of resolution to what you need. You sent, then Orange Baseball just simply showed up one day and took every damn thing off the ball diamond and left. And I'm a little upset. That I don't understand. That's question number 2. And then I'm wondering in the back of my mind, if you can say this kind of stuff about the town board to your board, I'm wondering what's been said to these sponsors. You know, we're a growing town. Whether you guys stay or leave or whatever, you know, if you leave, you're going to go someplace out of the neighborhood. We got to stay here. I don't know what's been said to these sponsors, but I know you didn't go down there and tell Beck, said, well, we decided we didn't like it no more. I mean, I don't know. I find that offensive too. And I'm just asking you right now, why were you willing to come up here and talk? Go ahead, sure, go ahead.
1 second, and then just a couple more questions I want to ask. And I mean, I think the last time that you invited Steve up was in the middle of when we were having tryouts down here, and Steve was trying to run tryouts, correct?
Sir, I don't, that might be, but I know on 4 or 5 different occasions, 4 or 5 members up here personally gave him a personal invitation to come up.
I can tell you.
And they were all rejected.
I can tell you from now, you know, I had no idea that this many problems was going on until we started hearing about the rumors of this termination. We went back and listened to your town council meetings, and I found Steve's description in that highly accurate. Not about you personally, but about the board as a whole.
Now, when was this? Because this is you say you came back to a town board meeting?
I went back and listened to all your town council meetings.
So, you're saying this whole board's a bunch of liars?
I say, as a group, what went on in those conversations was highly accurate as how Steve described it.
So,
not about you specifically.
Well, when have I ever told you a lie?
Not about you specifically, that's what I just
When has this board ever told you a lie?
I'm not calling you a liar, there's just some inaccuracies.
May I address the board?
Sure, go ahead.
Appreciate it. My name's Andrew Einters. I'm counsel for Orange Baseball. I think this is awesome. I love these council meetings. I love people going head to head and whatnot. I have never seen a baseball field get so contentious, but there you go. Couple things. I love what you, Mr. Pfeiffer, is that correct?
yes.
I love what you said. You said, I'm not opposed to these guys coming back, but, and there's a lot behind the but. I love what you said. You know what? This is supposed to be a thrill about baseball, and it's not here. Kid's supposed to be there. It's not here. I don't have, I'm paraphrasing, I don't have the heart to do this anymore. This isn't supposed to be a stressful thing. It's for the kids, for goodness sake, like you said. Now, Maddie, you weren't here for the initial contract, correct? I didn't think you would have. Okay. I like the fact that, from what I understand, we're saying, you know what? In words of my kids with that crazy, I don't remember what the heck that movie was, but hit the restart button. All right. You know what? This has been a forgettable 18 months or whatever the heck it's been. Now, if we can't, and if we can move forward, we'll good Lord, let's see what we can do. I mean, I love litigation, and I'm telling you right now, I would love to go to town on those 16 issues that you had there. That's not the hill either one of us want to die on. I promise you that. There's an answer for every one of those, and then there's a counter response for every one of those, and back and forth and back and forth, and Manny and I get really, really rich, and everybody else gets broke.
That's right.
No need for that, but I would love to move forward. And I love the candid nature that we have here. We got safety issues. We don't think they're safety issues. Well, we think they're safety issues. Fine, let's fix the dang thing. We can get that taken care of. I know you guys didn't think that field was all that good, but I'm telling you right now, I am not full of crap when I tell you that field out there, when I looked at there that one morning when I toured it, that was every bit. I would put that up against the Field of Dreams over there at Noblesville, the Hazeldale Fields. One, because they don't have a lot of that artificial stuff around there, and two, it backs up to those cornfields. I mean, that is an awesome feeling. You come in here to a small town, and you come into that gravel road, the gravel parking lot. Yeah, there's still a little grass in the parking lot. And you get there and you park and you're there. I mean, that's baseball. That's what you hear. That's what's there. And it still can be done. Okay, yeah, there's some financial issues. There's some of these other issues and whatnot. You know, you get mad at your mom and you kick your dog. I'm sure everybody has said some things that they wish weren't recorded. Other people said things you wish that you could take back. I get all that. You know, my wife and I are still married, and if we got upset every single time somebody said something like that, not me, but she always says the bad things. I'm always, you know, perfect angel.
Yeah.
You're never going to get around. So, okay, let's have it out. Yeah, I don't like it. If the issue is truly the issue, and the issue is truly the safety issue, well, let's fix it. That's fine. If the issue is trust, you're not going to get trust just by word. You got to build it. Fine. Well, let's make sure the contract is drafted so that there is quantifiable accountability. Hey, Manny and I can do that in our sleep. That's easy. Let's make sure that there's some kind of a hierarchy where people are going to be reporting to. And let's make sure those reports go to everybody, not just this side and that side, but everybody. Then there can be no hearsay. I think a lot of what's going on here is somebody got ticked off at somebody else because of something that somebody else said, and be darned. You know, even Rambo said that pride is a poor substitute for intelligence, and good Lord, if Sylvester Stallone knows it, we ought to know that too. So let's not call each other liars and this, that, and the other. Does somebody fabricate? Yeah, of course they do. Does somebody embellish? Of course they do. You know, anytime anybody says never or always, you know there's exceptions, so nobody's being accurate that way. I just did it myself. So I like the fact if we really can move forward, bury the hatchet on this other stuff. I mean, if we want to go ahead and duke it out over the transgressions and all this stuff, and we don't think we cared enough, and you don't think we loved you enough, and all that kind of stuff, that's fine. You don't believe there's $100,000 worth of stuff there. If they say they spent $100,000, they spent $100,000. Maybe they didn't spend it wisely, but it was spent. Maybe it was $25. I don't care. Moving forward, if we're going to do this, let's do it. What I got to say. Thank you.
Well, I agree with you, but just so that you understand, this ball diamond is a different ball diamond. You look at it now than it was 10, 15, 20 years ago. There's been a lot of people in this town, many of which I don't even know. I mean, a lot of them have already passed on, that put blood, sweat, and tears in that ball diamond. You have a lady sitting in here right now who's actually went up and many years ago and made a loan to fix the ball diamond and made the payments herself. There's a lot of families involved that have contributed time, effort, money in that ball diamond. Well, as you know, when Ford came here, it just kind of fell apart. That's why I said at the beginning of my conversation that everybody up here was all for Orange coming up because we had great hopes, and our heart is in that ball diamond. It's not just a ball diamond. It's not just a place for kids to go play. It's far more than just that. With the townspeople, because of the blood, the sweat, the tears, the finances that have been put in that ball diamond. We want to make it as well as you guys want it to.
And I think what you just said there is the key. The ball diamond, this sounds like some kind of a Hallmark movie, I know.
Yeah, I know.
The ball park is, I mean, it can be iconic. I mean, it's Atlanta. I mean, when I come up here, that's the first thing I see when I'm coming from Cicero on up there. There's that ballpark. as silly as it sounds and as melodramatic as it sounds, it doesn't belong to Orange, it doesn't belong to the board, it's Atlanta. And the people that came before, the people that are gonna come after. I agree with you 100%, and I know I get fired up about this because, I mean, it's sports and it's the kids and it's
But the
what
point
we
I'm
can all relate to. It's a whole community.
But the point I'm trying to make, gentlemen, the gentleman probably knows, so maybe some of you ladies know too, I'm not. When you go buy a new car, you don't, none of us guys, when we go buy a new car, we don't buy a car because it's real pretty, shiny, got a real nice wax job on it, tires looking good. We don't pay $35,000, $40,000, $50,000 for a car like that. We look under the hood, we see what's in there. We see what kind of bells and whistles it's got on, what kind of quality workmanship in, what kind of, you understand? The Ball Diamond's the same way. The people in this town who are not affiliated with the Ball Diamond, who have nothing to do with the Ball Diamond, drive by every day and say, boy, that looks good. It sure didn't look that good a year ago. And it does look good from a distance. But when you come in and really look at it and see some of the things that weren't completed or were done wrong, yeah, I can make a list over here of the things that Orange done right. And let me say, we bragged on Orange. Every member up here has bragged on you. It hasn't always been just a put down. Every one of us, boy, we were proud that you guys come here. You're doing it right, going right at it. And then slowly, it just kind of, okay, that's what happened. It tilted. And the reason why it tilted is because there's no communication. If communication came a lot earlier than it has today, this thing would have been straightened up.
And I think in addition to the communication, it has to be candid communication, so everybody knows that there's not any of that, that backstab and whatnot, or even feel like it might be some of that stuff. And I agree with you. You know, the one little thing, you know, when the letter of termination came, the letter of termination says you got 90, I'm paraphrasing again, you got 90 days to get your stuff and get out of here. That's what they did, including those scoreboards. But I'm just saying, what's done is done. As far as if this is going to move forward, we have to make sure that we're moving forward, not looking back. We're not going to forget the past. Yeah. I mean, you know, somebody cheats on you, they cheat on you. You're not going to forget that, but let's see what we can do moving forward. And if we can do that, I think this council is well worth it, this meeting. If we can't do it, well, let's know so we can lick our wounds and move on, and then Manny and I can arm wrestle over, you know, who kissed whose girl and whatnot, and go on.
Well, the point I'm trying to make is that 90 days, it may seem like a short notice from your point of view, but you're forgetting about the 8 months prior to that.
No, I'm not. No. What I'm saying is I'm done with that because I didn't get involved in that anyway.
Okay, I'm just saying it's taking that long to get this meeting in here today.
Well, what you may
and I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to go down that road no more.
I like these meetings. So. What we may want to do, though, is Manny may come up with some type of benchmarks with this contract where it's almost like the old no trade clauses in baseball. You know what, you accomplish this stuff here, all right, we bought ourselves a new lease, boom, 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 boom. And then after a year or two, if it turns out that everybody's playing in the same sandbox, maybe it extends or break. There are always things you can do. Lawyers are great at making the words fit the facts.
Yeah.
I mean that as a compliment, of course.
Sounded like it. But I think, you know, to Andrew's point, if you guys want to move forward, it's your call. I think the best route might be for these guys to address those issues that Johnny put forward and that I put forward in the letter and say, okay, we recognize, you know, for the sake of argument, let's just recognize that these are issues and here's what we propose to do and here's our timeline for doing it if you want to move forward. Because you have until December 10th to essentially make that call. And you can extend that if you want to allow an opportunity to tell you what they're willing to do.
Well, gentlemen, you want to tell us what you're willing to do?